I mean, your life has actually spanned music writing, producing, obviously huge charity and concerts and benefits, festival appearances, international performances, as well as obviously TV and radio shows. So which out of all of those activities is closest to your heart?
Live performance, simply because that's what I did long before I was allowed to, to go into a recording studio. I mean, I was quite long in the tooth before I was allowed in the studio to do what I thought was interesting, as opposed to what other people wanted me to do. So live performance was something, that's what you did. You got yourself a guitar, you taught yourself to play it, you met like-minded people. Before you knew it, you had a little nucleus of a band, and you went out and performed for people. So that didn't really cost an awful lot. Anything above and beyond that was an expensive process. You had to be signed to a record label. You had to be allowed to go into the studio. You had to have a record producer. You had to have songwriters. You had to all sorts of skills. And that stuff takes a while to accrue. Nobody's born, straight out a brilliant songwriter or a great performer. You have to hone those skills like anything else. So yeah, the live performance thing is still the bit that that satisfies most. You have to imagine that songwriting is great and production is great. I mean, I'm in my little man cave here right now. I'll just show you technology. I'm surrounded by technology. Yeah. So look, I've got my synthesizers and
cool. Yeah.
And my little this is what I've been working on recently. A little audio visual mixer. I've got high definition cameras, so I can do performance from here. You see some of the guitars hanging up the back there. But this stuff is great. But by the time a piece of music comes out, I've been working on it for up to 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So the buzz that you get when you hear it getting played on the radio is kind of somewhat diminished. It's very different from walking on stage and going, hey, and it's instant. Someone claps at the end of your song, hopefully. So there's an instant gratification. So that, you cannot replace that with any of the other periphery stuff, the recording and things.
Brilliant. I mean, and I guess fine. What sort of projects are you actually up to now? I mean, during the sort of lockdown.
Well, as I say, the touring ground to halt. I thought when I came back from Australia, I was in Australia when touring the 1980 tour, and we'd just left New Zealand back in March, early March last year. And New Zealand closed its doors. By the time we landed in Australia, New Zealand had done the right thing and shut its doors and stopped people from coming in and out and putting itself in quarantine. That's why New Zealand is still up and running right now. They're back to normal. and we've just closed our borders. So Australia, we managed to get through most of it. And when I got back from Australia, I thought, okay, this could last 6 months, this lockdown scenario, this non-touring thing. And of course, being the creative that I am, I thought, well, I've still got to connect with the outside world. So I invented this little club where people sign up, and twice a month or whatever, I do performances from here, and I do question and answers and all of that. And I've been interviewing some of my contemporaries, some of my friends, and it's great fun. And every one of my friends talks to me from their studio. So it's like, 80s musician talking to 80s musician. And every one of them, when I ask them what they're up to, say, well, I'm in the middle of an album, but I work to a calendar, I work to a date, and I have nothing in my calendar. There's no date, there's no pressure to finish or complete anything. So I'm sitting on a half-finished album. Well, I'm sitting on 2 half-finished albums, because you need that end goal to enable you to do this stuff. Because otherwise, with the luxury of being able to come down here anytime I like and twiddle away and write things and create stuff, I can do it tomorrow. I don't need to do it today. But the moment there's a date in the diary, I can't just leave it till tomorrow. I've got to. It's my incentive, my drive, my finish. So I've been doing virtual performances and virtual chats and lots of interviews with my friends, and catching up with things that, you know, what those magic moments when you're really busy and you say, well, if I ever get a few weeks off, I will do this, you know, whatever it happens to be. And now we have more time on our hands than we ever imagined we would have. So I think that's why when the first lockdown happened, people were trying to learn new languages, and they were trying to learn how to bake, and they were doing their garden, and they were doing all of these things that, and of course, now that we're now in yet another lockdown, I think maybe that novelty has worn off, and people are now just looking a bit glazed and dazed and tired watching television and tired listening to the radio. You know, I think they're resorting back to, you know, sitting in a chair and reading a book, which isn't a bad thing.